Good morning, everyone joining us today. My name is Lihlohonolo Motake, and welcome to the Cutting Talks podcast at CUT. Today we're celebrating a very important day, and I'm hoping everyone is going to have some knowledge when we are done here. It's amazing that I'm joined by a panel of experts. It's a panel of people who know what they are talking about. If you were to ask me, I'll say we are fortunate that we have the institutional registrar with us here. With a busy schedule, we appreciate the fact that you did make time to be here with us. And we have the Deputy Director, Disability Services Unit. And we have also the lecturer from Communication Sciences. And intentionally, I did not say their names because it is ideal for people to tell people who they are. So, Ereke Kale. Empa pele ke qala ntumella hobane ka Sesotho letsatsi la kajeno le a ntumella hore ke qale tjena hore nna ke Mosotho wa Lesotho ke tsebe Bosotho bona na hobane ke bo ratile ke sa le monyane haholo. Jole ke re ke yona puo ya ka ya letswele. E re ke re Reg, how o itsebisa wena o re mang?
Ke a leboha doc. My name is Salidzengwa and ke Motswana. So le nna ke thabela ho bua ka leleme la hae. But I'm the institutional registrar here at the Central University of Technology, and I'm very excited to be participating in this profound day of mother tongue. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you very much, Reg. Ntate Manyare.
Dumela ngwaneso re kae? Ke dumedisa le bohle ba tla bona podcast kaofela. My name is Manyarela Mohau, ke tswa Disability Unit, and we are excited to form part of this podcast, particularly that we are also celebrating the day for the mother tongue. Ke a leboha.
Ms. Lowe, I was telling Reg earlier that I was your student, I think, many years ago. If I were to tell the viewers how many years ago, I'll be telling my age, and I'd like to keep that very private for now. Yeah, and yours as well. I think yours more than mine. Ms. Lowe, who are you and what do you do here at CUT?
I am lecturer in communication sciences, and that having been said, I'm very passionate about language. I lecture in English, and I am Afrikaans as well, so I'm bilingual. I don't know which one is my mother tongue, Afrikaans or English. It could be either one.
Yes. Ms. Lowe, I do know that you say English and Afrikaans, but I'm aware that isiXhosa, Sesotho, Setswana, part of your repertoire. So multilingualism lives within you.
Siyathetha, riyabua, ons praat. But
the point of interest then becomes, because I think a former statesman Nelson Mandela says if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. But if you do the same thing and you talk to a man in a language that is his own, then it goes to the heart. Where do you then get to learn all these languages that you speak?
It was exposure, I think, and because like I said, I'm passionate about language. In my house, my parents, we spoke Afrikaans, English, Sotho, Tswana, and Xhosa. So we had all those languages, and my dad could speak Fanagalo as well, because at one point he was working at a mine. So I grew up in a multilingual home. And in a multilingual environment as well.
All right, then. Reg, I know when I started working with you, there was a time when I tried a bit of French with you and you showed me flames. How many languages do you speak? Or at least on a conversational level?
Okay, so on a conversational level, I speak Setswana, I speak Zulu, I speak Xhosa, a little bit of Venda, Abusheni. Barimin.
Oh, Andovo.
Ndovo Ngamanda. And I do speak Afrikaans. My mother is actually colored as well, so my father is Tswana. Right. And then I got married to a Xhosa family, so then that's where the Zengwa comes from. That's my surname.
All right.
And so I'm happy to actually be able to converse and be comfortable in knowing that I may not know that language, but the familiarity makes me be comfortable. And yeah, so I really love even the opportunity to learn another language. I've seen discussions where one person will be speaking in Zulu and the other one responding in Sesotho, and it will just be fine.
Yes.
So
I think that's where we need to be going as a country, where we understand each other to a point where you can be yourself and I can be myself, but we coexist.
Exactly.
When I get you from Kwakwa, Tabadi Marfa, Tabadi Mohodi.
Cheka o bua fela in a conversation.
Yes.
Che di malwa tsena tsa se Africa. SeZulu, SeXhosa, Sesotho, Setswana, Sepedi. Mo tloa mono ke Sekgowa. Ke la ka misa opportunity Afrikaans ke ne ke etsetsa go e pasa sekolong.
I think Reggie is slow since at least that Xhosa is much better than yours. There are problems. Yeah, because I hear you saying, hey, say Xhosa. I'm like, I don't think you're that confident. Yeah, we may need to work on that one. Ladies and gentlemen, let's maybe then continue. We had a poll, I think, 2 days ago on social media. Communications and marketing helped us with that. And one of the questions that we asked then was, so what do you wish for the future of your mother tongue? We had 4 options on those. I'd like to hear your choice today before we go on with the conversation for today. The first option was the future was thriving, widely spoken, taught in schools, used in media and official settings. That's the first option. Second option, surviving, still spoken within communities, but facing challenges of limited use. The third option, reviving, efforts underway to revitalize and increase usage. And then the last option, preserved, documented and studied, but no longer actively spoken in daily life. For your language, Ms. Lo, but now I'm not sure whether it's English or Afrikaans, but whichever one.
Let's go with Afrikaans.
Afrikaans. Where do you see it in terms of this option? Thriving, surviving, reviving, or preserved?
Thriving.
Thriving. And maybe if, when I was a student, you always say, why thriving? Why do you think it will be thriving?
It's thriving because it is broadly used. And I think people that speak it are generally quite proud of it. So they will carry on speaking it, even though it is under threat, I think, by government and the education system. But I mean, so long as people use the language and are proud of it, then I think it will keep on thriving.
All right, then. Your language, is it thriving, surviving, reviving, or preserved in the future?
I think I'm here for 2 things. One, I'm here for the advocacy for the sign languages. One of the 12 languages. Being subjectively, because I'm coming from the disability unit. And now that South Africa has introduced it as one of the official languages, and secondly, that CUT has taken a bold step, I think it's surviving because there is about 2% of the population in South Africa that is people who are deaf. And they have been there in the system. And if I were to take our scenario, there has been people who are deaf in the CUT community that we have not been really taking care of them and supporting them. But this creates an opportunity for it to survive and to develop as a language.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I hear the sign language and advocacy, and I truly appreciate. Let's talk to the Sesotho from Kwak. Where do you see it in the future?
I think in that if I give Sesotho, a lot is lost. Ntho tse ngata di lahlehile tsa Sesotho. Ho nona le the language ya Sesotho, it was developed at some point when we were growing up re le banyane. Dikolong re na le dibuka, re na le dintho, but the society e laetsa hore language ya rona e be ntho e ka reng ha ena value. Where ngwana o ruteile ha tseba Sekgowa.
Yes.
So dintho tse jwalo ke tsona me ke binang le tumelo ya hore e na le monyetla wa ho revive to it hore hole e le language ebe nebe puo ya thuto.
Yes. All right, no, thank you very much. Reg, Motswana. Setswana in the future, where is it?
I think Sotlo very strongly. And maybe context is very important to why we say our indigenous languages, not just Setswana, will thrive because of such platforms. What we're doing here today, we are really bringing back that confidence. Or Motswana, Mokgatla, Utswakai, be proud of your language, and we want to teach generations that are following us to be mindful of that, to have that little pride in their own mother tongue. And once we get those dialogues going with those generations, we will see it thriving.
Yes.
And I think there was a gap in how indigenous language, African languages, or were even left out, Setswana being one of them, and other cultures as well. So this is really exciting times. This is how we see transformation in action.
Yes.
So Setswana se a khutla.
I think the conversation, just the start of it, there's an African proverb that says, until the lion learns how to ride, every story will glorify the hunter. Until the lion learns how to ride, every story will glorify the hunt. It is true that we should start learning how to write our own stories and telling it in terms of what we want to see for our languages, and not only say it, but start living those as well. Ladies and gentlemen, today, as I said, we're celebrating International Mother Languages Day. Other people, they call it Mother Language Day, mother tongue, mother language. We're still talking about the same thing. Truly, just for background, this day, I think in 1999, Bangladesh approached the UNESCO at the time to say, well, you know what, we're proclaiming that we are struggling with certain languages in our country, and we see the same thing happening to the entire world, where other languages are just disappearing from the face of the earth. And they came up with this particular thing that we needed to celebrate our mother languages. And from 1999 carried through to 2002, when I think the UN took it upon themselves to make it official that we needed to start celebrating the day. And it's a great pleasure to see CUT being one of the universities that are saying, we are doing this and we're going to do it right going forward. Ladies and gentlemen, let me then from now go straight into the discussion. We started with who we are and all those things. And I think Ms. Lowe told me that she's from communication sciences. From your point of view, if you look at the academic and cognitive benefits of mother language, especially in education, what is the value? What is that importance and the benefits that we can get from there?
It is very invaluable that the foundation be laid in the mother tongue, I think, because if you are taught in your mother tongue, it's part of who you are. So you understand better, you express yourself better. It is just better cognitively. When you read, when you speak, everything, it's just so much better when you do it in your mother tongue. And over and above that as well, once the foundation has been laid in the mother tongue, it becomes so much better as well to learn, or easier to learn, a second language, because you already have it ingrained in you. You understand how language works from your mother tongue. Yeah.
All right, then. And you're saying mother tongue education important, especially cognitively, for people to understand what they're doing. Mm-hmm. In your experience, what has been the struggle in your classroom where you have maybe then a second language or a third language English speaker in an English class? And I think for your modules, it will be almost on a first language basis. What are some of the level of struggles that you have in that scenario?
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real.
It's
It's
a very real struggle because unfortunately, even though we sing praises of mother tongue education, we don't see that in South Africa. We really don't. And we put our students at a disadvantage because one of the subjects that I lecture is translation studies. And you find that students must now translate between English and their mother tongue, but a lot of them don't know their mother tongue. Their Sotho, their mother tongue is Sotho, but they went to Afrikaans schools. So now they don't have a foundation in the mother tongue. They say they're Afrikaans, but when they write Afrikaans, it doesn't make sense. And when you tell them, but try to translate in your mother tongue, in Sotho, they say, but I don't know how to write in it. I can speak it, but I don't know how to write in it. So really, if we can lay the groundwork and the foundation from an early age, and it's very important because the students come, and now I must go back and try to lay a foundation, and it's too late by the time they get to university.
All right.
Unfortunately.
Thank you very much. And Reg, Ms. Lowe talks to the need to have the students, or at least learners at the time, and then the students at a later stage, to be using their mother languages, or at least it's one of the indigenous languages that they are familiar with in their learning. The university, some of the institutional perspective, especially on supporting mother language within CUT, what are some of those, so that when they come with what she needs, at least the university is ready to accommodate them? What are we doing policy-wise and all those things? What are we doing as a university?
I think from the point of view of the registrar, and in general, a very critical stakeholder in how we shape change and improve access to the institution. I want to speak from that point of view. CUT is very forward-looking in terms of how their policies are driving transformation and the change that we want to see. And we are not disconnected from the national imperatives, right? So I want to start, for example, by having a very robust language policy at CUT. It's a multilingual policy, and we don't have a lot of those across the country in other institutions. So we recognize that we have Sotho-speaking people, we've got Afrikaans-speaking, and as well as English coming into our institution. So the policy already, as a starting point, gives provision to support the access from different language perspective. So we do have that language policy, which is a multilingual language policy, and its main mandate also is to drive the implementation of a very robust language-driven approach, aligned with the national, the DHET language policy, as well as the constitution of the country. When you look at the first chapter of the constitution, there's a recognition that all languages are equal, right? All 11 of them. And now we are really even recognizing sign language as one of those languages. And for this university to say, let's start and have 3 in the policy, that is really forward-looking, because we are putting systems in place to make sure that we can accommodate and build more into the capabilities of the institution to carry other languages through teaching and learning, through engagements. And so that's why we really are intentional. And from an even resourcing and financial point of view, last year only, the institution funded put aside strategic funds to make sure that the provision of a multilingualism thrives in the Central University, and that can be supported by the policy. What we need to see happening is the very same articulation into our admissions policy, as an example, to respond to what Ms. Lowe said, that we will then start saying, can we even be able to accept all these students coming with all the languages that are provided for in the country? Are we able to do that? But there's efforts in terms of the implementation plan to get us to that point. we need to have a robust stakeholder engagement with our partners, especially the Department of Basic Education, because that's where the disconnect is. If a student goes to Ms. Lowe's class and there is no connection to their mother tongue, even though she knows that you would actually succeed more if you could understand in your own everyday language. And so if we don't then engage with the DOE to say, what is your methodology in terms of building the African languages and the provision of African language, just as a start, because English is taking over.
Yes, yes.
And we need to be able to really circumvent and make sure that we respond to the Constitution and allow other languages also to
expression.
So we are really committed as a university, and I believe I speak really with actionable things that are tangible that we have done as CUT. Thanks.
And I think one of the things where we're sitting as well, this space, I heard you talking about the strategic fund as well, and the projects that were carried through those. The space where we're sitting now will be an example of the commitment of the university as well.
Exactly.
So we have a multilingual reading corner that is active, that is functioning through the commitment of the university. And we truly appreciate such efforts. And Ms. Lou and Reg, they talk about the need for these languages to actually succeed within CUT. Coming from maybe then the angle of inclusivity, right? And particularly individuals with disability. How are we making sure that they do find expression within our university?
Thank you very much, Doc. I think maybe I'll take it back a little bit around 2020, that as a university, we started noting the need to start accommodating deaf students within the South African. That came way before the officialization of the sign language as a 12th language. And we had then taken steps to liaise with our partners, the University of Free State, the University of Witwatersrand, University of Northwest, to learn on what they're doing best and how are they accommodating deaf students. So as part of that, we had then taken initiatives to ready the environment. One, to create an awareness around the areas of sign language as a language, not as a disability, because the sign language is not a disability, it's a language. But deaf people are disabled by the environment, which may not be able to converse with them. So one of the key things that we did, we then went to develop a conversational sign language course or program to ready our environment and to ready our university to be able to accommodate such students. And secondly, what we also did after the development of a conversational sign language, we started engaging with the different departments, different units, to make sure that we can work together and collaborate in readying ourselves for this moment. So in January this year, we welcomed our first 2 students, deaf students, a CUT. It's a surprise because you never get ready, and no matter how many resources you can put in place. But the significance of it is that the university took a bold step in 2023 by putting sign language as one of the official languages. And this is historical because, like Reg has already stated, that CUT, it has a foresight of seeing things and preparing before. And being one of the official languages of CUT, it creates the need for CUT community to be able to have the basics of conversation with the deaf students. So one of the key things about inclusivity is to be able to engage with them. I think Melo spoke about some of the threshold concepts, difficult concepts that students need for teaching and learning. And the sign language interpreters, the technology, it's providing that opportunity for such students to be able to feel accommodated, our environment to be inclusive, and to have a university that represents the entire population of South Africa.
All right, then. You speak to a very important fact, I think, when you talk to the module that was created. what's the aim of that module? Why did we need to create that? I understand we readying the environment for South African Sign Language and the culture as well. But where does it function? Who's the target market? Who are the people who are supposed to take the module? Maybe for us to understand as a community in terms of, are we the target market so that we can knock on your door to say, when are we starting?
Yeah, I think, Doc, one of the key things that we did, last year we ran a pilot of conversational sign language since it was approved by Senate. So we had a population from students who enrolled for the pilot. We had academics in the departments. And we are also fortunate because the hotel school, it's the first in South Africa to accommodate a deaf student. So there's a number of learning things that we're going to go through. I don't know what is the pod in sign language. So one of our sign language interpreters, they will be developing terminologies that can be taken by other universities and industry.
Yes.
So secondly, another student is admitted at education, humanities. So the importance of that is it created a situation where academics that participated in the pilot are now able to communicate with the student. When they get the students in their classrooms, they do have the basics of greeting. And one of the key fundamental things is to learn about the deaf culture. Because even if you may not be able to have a lengthy conversation, but you can have the basics of conversation, but you would understand the culture sensitivity that comes with the deaf community.
All right, then. Ms. Lo, the one thing that I'm understanding, and I hear from Dr. Manyarela, especially with the module and how then the intention is mainly on cultural awareness and making sure that when a student who is signing in class or needs a sign language interpreter, we are not shocked as lecturers. Are you ready, though, to have a sign language interpreter next to you while you're busy doing your lectures on a daily basis? Is the environment ready in terms of academics? Are you, as a lecturer, ready to accommodate such?
We have to be ready because, like Mr. Manyarela said now, sign language, unfortunately, it's one of those things, it's Animal Farm. We say every language is equal, or that the languages should be equal, but some are more equal than others. And unfortunately, sign language is one of the languages that fell to the wayside. Yes. So whether I am ready or not, I must make the space available, and I must accommodate it because it's how we're going to foster. Yes. And I feel that we as not deaf people, we also should make means to try and learn the language as well.
All right, then. No, thank you very much. And from there, we need maybe to move to a more celebratory mode where we're saying, what have we done? What is it that we can say, you know what? We understand mother language is important. And in the past, this is what we have done as a university, because sometimes we look, but we don't want to appreciate ourselves. Reg, the institution, some examples maybe in the past, or at least from your foresight, because I think foresight is very important to CUT as well. How did we celebrate this? What has been the importance of this day at CUT, maybe then in the past?
You know, I joined CUT in 2021, and it was for me humbling to see how intentional this university is. In fact, coming from UKZN, VUT, VES, I was never involved or even noticed how Mother Tongue Day can really be celebrated. And this institution has been very, very intentional. I mean, language finds expression in the culture that we live, we come from, our heritage. And just to have an event such as your poetry or international day, or even an African day, where we actually celebrate also how these indigenous languages are celebrated. That is profound. This very podcast it's symbolic because it says, we are restating. And I know there's a lot of initiatives and activations that have gone through in the past, which have been supported. And students have participated in them. I mean, you go on the social media of the institution, you do find responsiveness on these activities related to the use of language and our mother tongue and preservation thereof. And so it's exciting to see that happening. And I want to encourage that we continue in that trajectory. The institution is really shaping differently, and we are excited. So let's continue.
Yes.
And we can be as creative as we want to be in terms of formulating that. And I want to really applaud the teams that come together and conceptualize these events, whether it's at academia, whether it's at support, whether with student affairs. That should come through. We've got a radio station also that can be used as a vehicle for us to make this message heard that we do recognize mother tongues, different mother tongues, heritages, and recognize that the inclusivity at this university says it's not only the 3 languages that are in the policy, all these other languages are just as important. And so, we've seen the events and we are excited. And this one is also yet another example of living and seeing change in action that I'm talking about.
All right, then. I think what Reg is talking about is important as well, in that it now allows us to talk to the fact that accessibility in terms of then these students that will be disabled, or even staff members or the community in general. How then does celebrating such days? We may not limit it to Mother Language Day. We may talk to Africa Languages Week. We may talk to later on International Translation Day and any other day that seeks to promote indigenous languages and their usage. How does then celebrating such days and add to inclusivity, to students with disabilities, staff members with disabilities, having access to what CUT needs to offer?
Thank you very much, Mutaki. One of the key things, I'll make an example about one of the activities that we celebrated last year during the Deaf Awareness Week was the Silent March. It was my first experience of attending one. It felt very lonely, particularly that we had the community of deaf people and we had the other stakeholders that supported us from APD, Association for People with Disabilities. And majority of the people there could talk and have a decent conversation. And for us, we just had to keep quiet because we are not at the stage of understanding sign language. And then it demonstrated one of the key modes of disability, which says the environment is the one that disables you when you look at the social model of disability, because we were disabled in a dead environment because only those that know sign language could have a decent conversation. And that has brought an awareness. I think when we left the Welcome campus, the community was quite interested in learning because they've identified the gap, how disabled they are within that space of the Deaf March that we had. And we had Deaf SA. I think, we must say, as an institution, this is a milestone for us because we had a stigma of CUT rejecting majority of the students who wanted to enroll with us because you would find that we are saving a space of occupational qualification in a higher education space where we are more of a university of technology. Being a UOT, we have to serve a certain mandate. And some of the students don't want to go to the traditional universities or comprehensive universities. They're looking up to us, and we never had an opportunity to accommodate them. So even the FSA had acknowledged to say, yes, CUT, we have been waiting for this moment. And this removes the stigma and makes the community to be conscious and to be able to make efforts in trying to accommodate and to be more inclusive.
All right, then. No, thank you very much, Ntate Manyarela. Ms. Lo, when I'm coming to you, especially from a communication sciences background, we have media that we in South Africa that we depend on in most cases to promote, or at least to try and promote these initiatives. How do we do that from a communication point of view, to use the media to advantage, to celebrate such days, to improve on the usages of our languages? Because you watch on TV, you see a whole lot of English and isiZulu in South Africa, whereas the other languages are starting to actually disappear. You have newspapers, I think, around Isolezo from KZN will be doing great numbers, but when you come to the other languages, we do not have the same readership. How do we change that landscape?
We need to take ownership as people for our languages and as it is our identity. And we should start pushing it ourselves. I laud our radio station because we have shows that are presented in mother tongue. I know we have an Afrikaans show, we have an even though it's mostly English, you get programs that are presented in other languages. So we should take ownership. We must start making music in our own languages. And by that, I mean, we need a mind shift from our students, from ourselves as people. We are, and not only TV and radio, we must make music in our own languages. We have Twitter, we have all these other social media things. Push your language, use it as much as possible and introduce it to other people as well so that they can see you take pride in your language, and that's how it's going to grow as well and thrive as well. We start reviving by using it and showing our pride in it.
All right, and then it makes absolute sense. And I like what you're saying as well, because it says to us, what can we do? Not only as a university, as a community. We have the impact of language loss experienced by a whole lot of other individuals and people around the world. In South Africa, to make sure that we do not lose these languages, if there could be one thing that you say, if we were to do this one thing, at least out of this many things, this one thing, either as a university, as a people, what would be the one thing that you believe truly that if we were to do this, we will save these languages?
Sure. We write a lot. We talk too much, but we don't act. Right?
Yes.
So as a country, I mean, the state has made efforts, written efforts, but are those finding expression in our daily lives? You converse with your child. Let's start from home. Every time I speak in Xhosa, my daughter will say, "What did you say?" Right? So I think the most part is to be intentional and recognize that our children don't appreciate their own languages. Society can change and be responsive if we start from at home.
Yes.
Where charity begins, right? And then you'll see that it will find expression and it will be responsive to the initiatives that are put forward by the state through the policies, through the governance aspect, but also through the resourcing of that. And this is why I was I'm really, really thinking that if universities and at higher education level and department level, if we can start having those robust discussion and pull in stakeholders like your PENSAP and all of those together and say, how do we strengthen the language at school level? That is very profound. It's not taken seriously. They do have a multilingual, I mean, just here, next to us, the UNESCO will have Sesotho because they recognize, but they need to bring it up as well.
Yes.
And to the point where the way we will have then the terminologies in the institution being widely available and responsive to other languages, I think we will get there. Yes. But I do believe that charity begins at home. I do believe that once we are really intentional and teaching our own children to speak their languages, we will then be responsive to the initiatives that are put forward at national level, but the ones that the policies and the plans have been put forward. So the vision is there. The intention is there. The commitment is there. How do we then live to respond to all of that?
Yes.
And remember, it's not about us today. We don't matter because we still know our language. But the majority of those that are coming after us, they just primarily speak English.
Yes.
So for me, that is really what we need to be having broader dialogues on and really find out in the household, in sample, in a community, how many households believe that their own mother tongue is a dominant language in the household? If you start assessing the data, you will see that actually we need to start there and empower them there. There's a lot to be done, Doc.
Yeah, but I like what you said there in terms of charity beginning at home. And truly speaking, if we do not take care of it at home, it can never go outside that house differently. It goes out as we trust it. Like I always say to my boy, as I trust you in the morning, that's how the world is going to see you. And as I speak to you, definitely is how the world will speak to you. As we are almost at the end. We are a university of technology. How do we then use this technology to improve on these languages, especially the mother languages?
I think, Doug, one of the key things that are transformative, it's something that our language services, it's really playing a key role, Melo. We have now conversational Sesotho, conversational Afrikaans, conversational Xhosa, and these conversational languages being embedded in the curricula, it's playing a very critical role in making sure that even those that have lost it in their upbringing, they can pick it up there.
Yes.
And as an intention from our side, we have started the talks, particularly with the faculty and the department, to take forth the approved SLP and move it towards a conversational sign language that is credited, that can be offered for the students that are enrolled at CUT. But also this is key because we have already got interest from the TVET colleges that are saying we are ready to enroll in the program.
Yes.
And the community around South Africa would know that CUT is one of those universities that is going out to appeal for inclusivity to make sure that we can really realize what is just and what is available towards people in the country, irrespective of their abilities.
Yes. No, thank you very much. And that, Ms. Law, after this, I'm promising you I don't have any questions. It's just statements from you. But I have just one last question for you. When we started, you said Africans will thrive, continue thriving. Just share with maybe then with the rest of us, why do you think it will keep on thriving? You touched a bit on it, but it's just like maybe an expansion of that to say, what is it that they are doing right? What is it that the Afrikaners are doing right that we can learn from? In politics, I always say, we need to use the model of Africans to develop our languages, but we fail somewhere where we want to eradicate Afrikaans so that our languages then become the ones that are used, but yet we are not using them. How do we then get to that particular level as well?
Once again, it starts with respect and self-pride, if I may put it like that. Prof has touched on it, Dr. Zingwa has touched on it, that students don't value their languages. Afrikaans-speaking people value their language. They see the value in the language, and they speak it as often as they can, where they can, and there's no compromise. A lot of times there's no compromise. So if we can start embedding that or instilling that in the younger generation, that this is my language, it's part of my identity, it is who I am, then we can start developing the other languages.
Definitely.
Because really it's used in schools, it's used in churches. I go to a Methodist church where the service is normally either in Afrikaans or somebody, but there's somebody else who is interpreting in another language for the people who are not there. You go to some churches and it's just one language. It is an African church, but the sermon is in English. So we must start using our languages as much as possible everywhere.
Yes.
And that is my answer to
Thank you very much. As we're closing, right, I think this will be the last time that I give you an opportunity to talk. After this, I take all the powers. No, I'm joking. But Raj, if there'll be one final thought in terms of the importance of language, the importance of celebrating International Mother Tongue Day, Mother Language Day, what will be your parting shot?
Just to remind everybody that language is your identity, and it empowers you as an individual to know who you are and recognizing your roots, because then as a human being, then you are grounded, okay? And because you are grounded, you can easily succeed, because whatever challenge that you're going to face, you're going to remember where you come from and who you are.
Yes.
And so just to remind them to please take cognizant, take a moment, think about what is being lost, the history of our people, and how we want to grow South Africa moving forward, and recognizing the imperatives of the Constitution, that we need to recognize that other people sign, other people speak in Swahili, but we are people at the end of the day. So my parting shot will be from that perspective, which is the general one, but from a CUT perspective as well, just to reassure our commitment to making sure that such activities of recognition of other languages and mother tongue, we will always support those endeavors. Our core values, very inclusive in their very nature, with Ubuntu as a part of it. That is a bold statement. And so the mere fact that our core values speaks to what type of an institution we want to be, that is strengthening and opening to all our communities to say, I can be a part of that institution. I want to be a part of that transformative institution. And so I'm really excited that I was given an opportunity to be in this dialogue. And I want to encourage more dialogues of this nature. And we will do it. We will do more. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you very much, Reg. And Manyarel, we are almost there, I promise, right? But from the unit that you're working for, right, or in as well, how do we see then this, or at least the last thing that you need to say to students that still want to come to CUT, but their mother tongue, their mother language, we are still working on it? Give them that assurance that, you know what, we have this and you can come to CUT.
Yeah, Doc, I thank you very much. I think from our side, we are developing within the language. We are developing the language, working towards developing the language. But in terms of teaching and learning of our students, it has taken us almost 4 years to 5 years to prepare for this moment. So what is standing out to be more important is that we had prepared, we have sign language interpreters. I think one of the key moments in this platform, we do have Simone, she's from our unit. She's interpreting to make this platform to be accessible for them. And we have an environment where it's conducive, it's aware, and it's accommodative to deaf culture. And my appeal would be, we need to look at people before we look at the ability of people. So we are all human, and we all have the same rights under the Constitution of South Africa. And I believe we have a platform, and we can provide a good platform for our students to excel despite of their impediments.
Yes.
Thank you.
All righty then. Ms. Lo, parting shots.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I was at a conference last year where we were speaking about language and translanguaging and other things. And what transpired there was that people felt that the ideal for South Africa would be if we in education could have choices, not, choices of going to any institution and being taught in the language of your choice. So our ideal, we have 12 official languages. So why can't we as a country be able to have access to all of them in all those languages? I know it's an ideal to strive for. I don't know, maybe in 2050 we might be there, but it will only happen if we implement all the things that we've been talking about now. We start from basic education, we instill that pride in our languages, and let's see where it can get us.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Before we actually thank my guest, I think this afternoon now, since we started in the morning, South Africa has beautiful policies, and I think all over the world we speak about policies that we have that are meant to enable these changes that we're looking for. When you talk to languages, I think this from 2022 to 2032, UN and UNESCO has declared that 10 years as International Decade of Indigenous Languages. And as a university, we are starting and we're saying we need to be part and also have some footprints in that particular initiative as well. I know this year that Matamela signed the Bella Bill into an act, and it talks about a whole lot of things. But I know most people are engaged in terms of the language and some of the changes that it might bring. And we need to look at that as a positive step in retracing that which then needs to be retraced. And Njimotsecha, when she was still the Minister of Basic Education, she signed into law, I think, the incremental introduction of African languages and mother tongue-based bilingual education. And as a university, we need to start taking steps in making sure that those students who come with a bilingual mother tongue education, we can accommodate them when they come here, because they will come, especially looking at the type of student that we have at CUT. We are actually looking for the same students to come here, but our environment, and I like what we shared today, that we're getting ready for those students because the laws are there and the students are coming, because I think from this year, grade 4 and grade 5 are already been taught in a bilingual way in the kids that we want to see them come into CUT. So these initiatives, I think they are truly, I'm truly grateful to have had this conversation with each and every one of you. Ms. Law, I know you had to run from the commitment of a staff meeting. Apologies to the HOD that side. Ndate you were on a meeting. I asked you to stop there as soon as we sat here. Reg, you came running from Orion as well, and thank you very much for making time. You know that everyone is busy, everybody's touching here and there, but this is a call that we all need to answer to. And as I am about to shut, I love African proverbs. I don't know why, but I think, yes. There's one actually that says as well, if the sun says it is more powerful than the moon, let it come and shine at night. If the sun says it is more powerful than the moon, let it come and shine at night. Our languages are all important, and we need to bring them at the right time for the right moment. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Cutting Podcast at CUT. Thank you very much.